A few months ago, almost nobody was talking about Veritone. Meanwhile, Palantir was everywhere. Big investors, financial YouTubers, even people who never cared about stocks suddenly started calling Palantir the future of AI. But something strange started happening in the background. Some investors slowly started looking at smaller AI stocks like Veritone. Not loudly, not emotionally, quietly. And that's usually where the real story begins. Because in the stock market, when everyone is focused on one side, the other side often hides something interesting. So I started looking deeper. And what I found wasn't a simple which stock is better answer. It was more like a contrast between two completely different investment worlds. On one side, Palantir, a company already trusted by governments, defense systems, and big corporations. On the other side, Veritone, a smaller AI company trying to build its place in media, automation, and enterprise AI tools. And honestly, these two stocks are not really competing directly. They represent two different strategies, safety versus speculation. Now, Palantir first. The reason Palantir gets so much attention is simple. It already proved itself in the real world. Its technology is used in serious systems where mistakes are not allowed. Government contracts, defense analytics, large enterprise data systems. That kind of business creates stability, and stability attracts big money. That's why institutional investors like it, because when markets become uncertain, they don't want stories. They want proof, and Palantir has proof. But here's where things get tricky. When a stock becomes extremely popular, expectations rise faster than reality. And once expectations get too high, even strong performance can feel not enough. That's the silent risk nobody talks about. Now let's shift to Veritone. This is a completely different story. Smaller company, less coverage, less trust from big institutions, and definitely more risk. But risk is not always bad. Sometimes risk is where opportunity lives. Veritone works in AI-powered media, content, voice technology, and enterprise automation tools. At first glance, it doesn't sound as exciting as Palantir. No government headlines. No military contracts in the news every day. But small companies don't need hype to move the stock. They need surprise. Because when a small company surprises the market, the reaction can be extreme. And that's why some investors start paying attention. Not because it is safe, but because it is unpredictable. And in the stock market, unpredictable can sometimes mean opportunity, but also danger. Now the real question starts forming in the mind. Is Veritone just a risky small player, or hidden AI opportunity before growth? And that's where things start getting interesting. If you compare both companies honestly, Palantir currently looks like the stronger foundation. More revenue stability, more established clients, more trust from institutions. And in investing, trust is everything. Because when fear enters the market, money doesn't chase stories. It moves towards safety. That's why Palantir has become a major AI name. But Veritone plays a different game. It doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to grow faster than expectations. And that's where the real tension is. Because small AI companies live and die on momentum. One strong partnership, one breakthrough product, or one viral adoption. And suddenly, everything changes. Stock can move quickly. But the opposite is also true. One weak earnings report, one cash flow issue, or one failed growth cycle, and confidence disappears instantly. That's why Veritone is not just an investment, it's a risk-based bet on future execution. Now imagine the future. AI keeps expanding. Companies automate everything. Media becomes fully AI-driven. Voice technology becomes standard. In that world, companies like Veritone could benefit massively, or they could get replaced by bigger competitors. That uncertainty is exactly what creates debate among investors. Now compare that with Palantir. Even in a slow market, it still has contracts, demand, and long-term government relationships. It doesn't rely on hype. It relies on systems already in place. So the real difference becomes very clear. Palantir is about stability and long-term trust. Veritone is about potential and uncertainty. And here's the honest truth most people ignore. Most investors don't actually lose money because of bad companies. They lose money because of timing and emotion. They buy when excitement is high. They sell when fear takes over. And AI stocks make this worse because the hype cycle is very emotional. Every week there is a new next big AI stock, but very few survive long-term. That's why separating emotion from analysis is important. Personally, Palantir feels more reliable today, but Veritone feels like a high-risk, high-uncertainty opportunity, and both outcomes are possible. That's what makes this comparison interesting, because sometimes the obvious choice wins, and sometimes the quiet underdog surprises everyone. But the key is understanding what you are actually holding. Not just the name, not just the hype, but the business reality behind it. So I'll end with a simple question. If you had to choose only one for the next 5 years, would you go with the established AI leader or the risky underdog trying to break through? Let me know. And if you want more real, No hype AI stock breakdowns like this. Subscribe because the next opportunity is usually the one nobody is talking about right now.